Hello, it's Mr. Ed and come on. Good time, Charlie. Today is it's May 6th. There it goes, 2023, and it's a very overcast day. In fact, we're supposed to have rain for the next 6 or 7 days, but we're not in Louisiana. Nope. We are actually in Mississippi, in Carrier, Mississippi, but in relation to Louisiana and Mississippi, they're just right next to each other. It's just got a state line in between us. So we're really only about 50 miles from the Abbey and only about 20 miles from Charlie's house. So it's not like we're going real far to get these bees. But here we are, Carrier, Mississippi, and we're removing bees. So Charlie, do me a favor and show where the bees are coming in. And there they are, up at the top, going in between the first and second story in the floor space. So what Charlie and I are going to do is we're going to go inside and we're going to be removing the bees from the ceiling instead of the floor. The floor access upstairs, it's a double closet upstairs, and it is just, for this operation, it would be better for us to remove them from the ceiling. So that's what we're going to do. By the grace of God. How many hours, Charlie?
2 hours.
2 hours we're going to be here, and we'll be bringing these bees back up to the Abbey. So you ready to wrangle bees? Oh, wait! Before we wrangle bees, Charlie, give them a shot. Where's this Hidden Lakes? What is this?
This is Hideaway Lake.
Hideaway Lake, Carrier, Mississippi. Charlie, show where we are. This is a beautiful location.
I would much rather be fishing right now than wrangling bees. Look at this beautiful lake.
How big is this lake, Charlie?
I don't know how many acres, but it's big.
All right, well, we can't go fishing, Charlie, so let's go wrangle some bees.
I guess we got to go get bees.
So let me show you about where the bees are. Well, I'll show you on the flare, but they're right in this area, right in here. And you can see the homeowner has put some insulation foam in all these cracks to stop the bees from coming inside of their house. So after today, that won't be necessary. Let me get the flare and show you. We have a pretty good signature right there, and our bees right there. And I'll shoot the lasers, and now you can see where the lights are. That's where our bees are. So the hive comes out, at least where the bees are. It's not very far that it comes out, but you know the bees aren't just right there. It's probably combed back this way as well. Let's go ahead and take down the crown and open up that ceiling. All right, let's see what they look like. Oh yeah, that is a beautiful hive right there. Beautiful. Wow. And it's relatively new.
Yep.
Sure is. Well, without Ralph here, I still managed to open up that ceiling. And man, what a pretty hive this one is. They've been here for a little while. You can see in this area the new growth. The bees have done this in the last couple of weeks. And then as we get down to this end, a little bit older. 1 season, that's about it. Really nice. So I'm going to first vacuum, knock the numbers down, and then I'll start removing some of that comb. How you like that beautiful comb? Wow, that is gorgeous. I'm telling you, I must have vacuumed for 20 minutes, maybe more. And I definitely knocked the numbers down. But as you can tell, there are a lot more bees. I'm going to start removing some of that comb now, making my way back. I had to get some of those bees down. There was just too many bees in there. Now, because I'm running the bee vac the entire time as I'm doing the comb removal, I'm going to do a play-by-play on what's going on. As you can tell, I'm removing that very first piece of comb, and it is very difficult to even get the knife in that space. There's no room to work. And not only that, the angle is so hard, but with a lot of pushing and grinding and shoving and cutting, I managed to get it cut, and here it comes. Here's this first piece of this beautiful, beautiful, brand new honeycomb. As it comes out, look at it. Now it's so soft that it's just about crumbling in my hand. And I have to get down that ladder really fast to get it on the table before it just falls apart. And as you set it down, it just about breaks off. And then I pick up the bee vac and start vacuuming up. And with all the bees removed, I think it's time to take a little taste. And it does not disappoint. As a matter of fact, pretty good. And now that I've had my share, the rest of the family wants to get in on tasting too. I cut off my part and then I just handed it around. There ain't no shame there. They are just going to town on it. And everybody is getting to taste the honey that came out of their house. And as you can tell by all the smiles, everybody is very, very happy. Now you notice I'm wearing my veil. The bees start to wear me out. So I put on my veil and start cutting up on that comb. And again, there's not much space in there. So it takes a lot of pushing and shoving. But this next piece is now finally cut off, and I grab hold of it. And again, soft comb. So it's very difficult to get out of there without falling apart. And this one still hadn't been sawn off all the way, so I have to do a little tugging because it was connected at the end of the comb. But with a little persuasion on my part, I did manage to loosen it up, get stung a little right there, and come on down with this piece. And it is a very large piece, and look at that. So we get it down, hurry over to the table before it breaks and set it down and begin vacuuming bees off of this one as well.
We're at the show.
We're quite an audience.
Can you believe this? This is like a party over here. Let me ask you this. Dollar for dollar, is this like the best entertainment value you've ever had?
This is good stuff.
You'll now notice I'm wearing my whole bee suit because the bees are just, I just got to wear it now. I'm taking too many hits. But you also will notice that I forgot to zip up my veil. Now I keep on sawing. Now you can see I didn't have my veil zipped up. Keep on sawing, and as I'm sawing, I'm holding that comb up so it doesn't fall down because it's in the back. And here it comes. Now look at the brood on this piece of comb. Beautiful. Move over to the table once again, and as I set it down, go ahead and vacuum off all the bees from it. Because the comb is so long and so soft, I have to cut it in half because there's no way I can take out a whole section of that comb. It's almost 3.5 feet long. So as I make my first cut to cut it, a piece of it off, after I make that cut, take my knife and put it right up against the plywood above it and start sawing. And I'm using the back of the plywood to rest my knife on it, and it cuts it pretty well. Now that that section has been cut off, here it comes, soft as can be. And look at all that beautiful uncapped honey. Beautiful. Man, I've been vacuuming, it seems like 3 hours. And we hardly even making a dent in the bees. My goodness. At least now I've got some working room in there. I had no room in there to work whatsoever. Taking out 3 sections of comb, and there's still 4 or 5 left to go. It's always deceptive when you look at a hive and you only see one end of it to the length or extent of it. And this one, if we would have been able to see that entire hive, our mouths would have opened up. What? At this point, I need to remove the comb that has remained on the subfloor above the comb. And to do this, I'm going to be using a hot knife. And this hot knife comes from Pierce Beekeeping Supplies out in California. I'll include a link to that in this video. And what it is a hot knife. And the way it's shaped, it allows me to run my knife along that subfloor and to remove that wax. And the reason I want to remove that wax is because once that wax is now removed, I can then place the hot knife, that flat surface of the hot knife, right onto the subfloor. Now what I'm doing here is first making my cut on that comb because it's too large. I use my regular knife to do that. Once that knife has done its job, I'll pick up my hot knife and I put it right on the subfloor above it and just hold it right there. And it takes so little effort for me to push that knife through that wax because it's heated up instead of using my blade and trying to cut it. And as it goes through, I support the comb underneath it. With the knife doing its job, I then just grab the comb, bring it down, and look at that. Wow, beautiful honey, brood, and bees. And now I make my way over to the table once again and set it down. Bee side up, start removing bees.
Okay, one of our spectators just took a hit on the finger, right on the finger. Poor little thing. I think she'll live through it. Well, if there's anything good about today, other than getting all the bees, it's raining. It has been raining since we've been here, and therefore we have no robber bees. And also, all the field bees are in the hive right now. So I think we're going to get about 99% of these bees before it's over with. Even though it's raining, it's still a beautiful lake.
I'm going to remove the back half of that section of comb now. And this is where the hot knife really works nice, because the heat from that knife is really doing all the work on these long reaches, like on this back half of this comb. The knife works perfect for me. All I have to do is set it on the top of that comb right there by the plywood and just put a little pressure on it. And the heat of the knife almost pushes right through that wax. And with the wax melted, I can now remove the whole section of comb. Really nice and easy. And look at the size of this comb. My goodness, beautiful. Look at the bees, the pollen, the nectar, everything on that. bring it over to the table. As I bring it over to the table, pick up my flashlight, and now I'm searching for my queen. It's so dark in there I can't even really see. And there's so many drones running on that comb, it's very hard to even be able to see that queen. But I don't see her. Turn up the light, grab the vacuum bees. Now on this next section of comb, because it's so large, I have to do it a little bit different. Of course, I'll start off, I'm just basically cutting the whole section of comb in half. And this time, because the comb extends so far out and so close to me, I can't even use the hot knife on this one. I have to saw through the comb. And it's closer, so it does saw through a little bit easier. And as I try to finish it up, I think I'm finished. But as I try to bring the piece of comb down, whoops, I did not finish. So I have to finish making the cut. And as I finish making the cut, I draw the comb down. Look at this. Look at the wobble in it. That piece of comb is huge, and the honey is making it really, really heavy. So I take my time coming down the ladder because I don't want to lose this section of comb. Head to the table, and I set it down on the edge because that's the heaviest side, and I lay the whole section of comb down, pick up my flashlight, and I start looking for our queen. I'm always thinking she's going to be on this piece of comb. But with all them drones running around, it's very hard to see it, and I did not see her. So, because this section of the comb is such a far reach back, I'm able to use the hot knife on this one. And this is where I'm really grateful for it, because it's so much easier than trying to get that knife all the way back there. And as you can see right now, how easy it is for that hot knife to cut through that wax. Now, as you also will see, it does not cauterize the wax or the honey, and then you'll see it dripping down on the comb. And it just does remove the wax, allowing me to remove the whole section of comb without a lot of struggle. And as I grab this section and bring it down, ooh, another beauty for sure. Man, look at all that stuff. Again, as I make my way hastily down that ladder because I want to look for that queen, set the piece of comb on the table, turn on the flashlight, and I start looking. All right, do y'all see her? Lots of drones, huh? Well, I don't see her either. As I begin to remove this next section of comb, and it's probably the largest of all of them, I start again in the same way, cutting it basically in half with my knife. And because I struggled a little bit last time with that, using the knife to remove this end of the comb, I'm going to use a new tool this time. Can you guess what it is? That's right. I'm using my hive tool. And I've used this hive tool often in removing comb. But here again, it proves difficult. There's no space to work. You can't get the tool at an angle. And it's basically you just push the edge of that tool through the wax. And I say that you push a lot easier than it really is. It is difficult. That wax does not want to separate. Well, I've managed to do it, and here comes a huge, huge piece of comb. Look at the size of that one. My goodness. I hurry real quick over the table because I want to look for that queen. And I set it down, pick up my flashlight. Look at all that drone brood in there. Lots of drone brood. Didn't see her. So I start the vacuum them up, and moving on to the next piece. Now for this next section, I'm able to use the hot knife again. But before I actually start using the knife to remove the section of comb, I start to remove where the comb was attached to the subfloor before. And the reason for this is because now, with that section of the comb gone, I can lay the hot knife flat to the plywood and I can get a good cut. Now this time I also started from the rear of the comb. That way I can have the front, when I'm cutting the front, I can support it and it'll drop right down. And so I tried it doing it this way on this one, and it did work very well. So as I cut the back off, and now the front, you can see how it works cutting that comb. Now that the comb is cut, reach up there and pull down that section. It still was a little bit hung up, so I had to pull a little bit. There you go. Here it comes. A beautiful, beautiful section of comb. And as I catch my balance and get down that stairs, this ladder pretty quick, look at the brood on this piece of comb. This is probably the best section of worker brood on the whole hive. I set the comb down. Now I'm really looking for my queen once again. And the nearer I get to the end, the more drones I'm seeing. There are so many drones. But, once again, no queen.
All right. I'm whittling away at it. Jeez. Slowly. Charlie's already told me it's been more than 2 hours. And he says he's hungry. But as we get nearer to the end, it looks like there's 2 or 3 more pieces in there. We taking away the numbers of bees, and hopefully our queen will come across. What I'm always concerned about in this construction, when you have a brick veneer over the exterior of the building, these spaces. So that's like about 1.5 inch space right there. You have another space right here. All these are areas where bees can run into. Now, sometimes the bees will actually draw comb down into that space, which makes it very difficult to remove the comb. And they can extend, gee whiz, inches, 5-6 inches. So it's very hard to get it out. Fortunately, these bees have not done that. As I begin to cut the next section of comb, I'm thinking to myself, hot dog, I'm going to be able to use a hot knife to cut this stuff out. And I'm always happy to use it because it's just so much easier of a tool to use. And again, I start by removing the comb at the rear section of that piece that I'm going to be removing, and then move up to the front section. It's just so much easier when I do it this way, and that way I know the back's already cut, and I can hold on to that piece of comb and almost let it drop into my hands, or in this case, with a little help, pull it down. As I pull it down, right here, just a little boom in the nose. It wasn't a sting, just a bump. Bring the comb to the table, look for our queen. Nope, not there. A few things you'll notice right away. I'm not wearing my suit because the bees have calmed down tremendously. And the other thing, I'm using the knife to cut the comb. And the reason I'm using the knife now is because I can get a lot of leverage on it, and with that angle and the leverage, I'm able to cut the comb very easily. And as I reach to take out the section of comb, I try to take it out, but it was hung up. Actually, it was hung up on the bottom. And then, boom, I take a sting in the hand while I'm looking for the queen, but manage to hold on to the comb. I don't see her up on the old piece of comb. Get down and look for her on this section of comb. And man, this section of comb is loaded with the newest uncapped brood. I saw eggs. It was a great section of comb. And so I knew our queen was near, but I didn't see her here. So pull the splinter out and move on. And once again, I am using the knife to remove this section of comb. And again, the angle and the leverage I can get on this section makes the use of the knife so much easier than before, and it is a little bit quicker than using the hot knife. So I choose to do that. Now just remove a little section holding right there, and we're able to get the piece of comb out. Now you see this section of comb right in the very front. It broke, and as I pull it out, or try to pull it out of the wall right now, you'll see, boom, it is, there you go, it just fell. It just broke off and fell to the ground, and it was a pretty large section of comb. You can see the part that broke off right there, and there it is on the ground right below the ladder. It landed on the floor. So bring it over the table. The queen wasn't there on this one either, so just a matter of vacuuming them up and moving on to the next one.
Can you believe it? We're down to one piece of comb. Now there may be one more back there. Let me see if we can move this little piece of comb right here to give you a peekaboo at the bees back there. Look at the bees back there! Gee whiz. So I'm going to remove this piece right here right now, and man, I'm just hoping our queen's going to be on the back side of that. Somebody drone back there, I can't see him.
Yeah, there are a lot of drones.
That's her! Look at this!
You got it right there.
Look at that, folks! Troy found the queen!
You went behind me.
Yeah, I see her. She's right there. No, she's right here, Charlie. Point her out, Troy.
There you go. That's her.
Look at that.
Where?
Right there. Pick her up.
Here we go. Woo! Wait, thank you, Jesus. Woo!
My prize catch.
Prize catch.
So you're a big bass fisherman. I've seen all the bass on the lake.
I'm a big bee catcher too.
Well, look, you've never done it before, huh?
No,
Have you ever seen a queen bee before?
not in person.
You will never forget it. Now that you've seen it, you'll never forget
It was awesome.
Troy did find the salt. He did see the queen.
He's the man.
Yeah.
Y'all did all the work.
So there you go.
That's awesome.
Look at that. Thank you, Jesus. Woo! Thanks, Troy. I'm going to tell you right now, Charlie ain't happy. It's been over 5 hours since we've been here. But folks, after 5 hours, it ain't there no more. We'll get you a shot of the bees and our queen. And I'm headed back up to the Abbey. We got our bees, 50,000 of them, 5 hours in there. We got some beautiful comb. And I'm telling you, this comb, there's no way this comb is 2 years old. And then this is just some trash comb. It's got honey in it. I'll go ahead and get some of that out of there. And all this comb is all of our brood that I'll frame this stuff up. You ready to wrap up?
I'm ready to wrap it up.
Me too.
Let's hurry up.
You ready to go fishing?
I want to go fishing. It's time.
Well, Charlie, I got to say, I'm very proud of you today.
Oh, yeah, you are?
Yeah, because 5 hours and you didn't complain once about not taking
5
a nap.
hours? I thought we had spent the night.
Charlie was asking, like, do you have
Oh
a
my
place I
God.
could take a little rest?
Woo! That was a
Charlie.
long time, but we did it. We did it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm ready to go, Charlie.
I'm ready to go myself. Thanks for watching.
Keep on watching.
We'll be making more.
God bless. It's Mr. Ed.
And good time, Charlie.
We're out of here until the next video. God bless.